growing up in an island culture is a very much part of my identity. And so all around me, schools and everything and rituals, the hula was there. So when I was 5 years old, I wanted to take hula. Hula to me was telling a story. And to me, in ways, I think partly from my culture too, you know, Japanese culture, it's a lot less verbal. So seeing something played out with the hands and telling a story kind of fit with the culture instead of being kind of out there and speaking. And so I took hula from the time I was 5 till about 10, 11, 12 years old. So, and then stopped taking, you know, formal training. But when I look at hula now that I've been away, you know, for so long from Hawaii, hula is something so deep and spiritual, and it's a conglomeration of spiritual and connections to the land, the aina, the flowers, the mountains, the trees, the ocean, and about people and relationships. And the hula tells those stories.
Oh, I was dancing since I was a little girl. My grandma basically taught me how to dance, and we just kind of grew up doing it at, you know, parties that we went to. My grandma was like, "Oh, you guys are gonna go and dance," and we're like, "Okay." So we dress up and, you know, we'd dance, we'd perform, and so I've been doing it since I was a little girl, and I've always enjoyed it.
I first started dancing my sophomore year in high school, so that makes about was it 5 years now. Yeah, I actually never planned to dance hula. I accidentally fell into it. Our band at high school, we were going to Europe and they wanted to do a Polynesian show and they needed band members to dance. So I volunteered, thought it'd be fun. Kaleo, my kumu, thought I had a thing for it and he asked me to try out for Ho'ike, which is a show we do in high school. And yeah, ever since there, I kept going with it, and I'm really glad I did. Yeah, like I never considered how I'm gonna be attached to my heritage, and I find hula is how I reach to my roots, and I'm gonna keep doing hula till the day I die.
When I was dancing and I was a little girl, I thought of it as being fun and just a way to kind of show off to everybody. But, you know, as I got older, it meant something to me, you know.
Just came up here and pretty much Sean is a good teacher. He can teach anyone to dance. So, and especially when you first look at Hawaiian dancing, you're like, wow. I mean, there's so much going on. Any kind of Polynesian dancing is just like Samoan slap dance. You got the Tahitian, and I mean, it just looks so complex. But I mean, practice for anything. I mean, practice makes perfect. And Sean, being the teacher that he is, like, I mean, anyone that learns under Sean, they'll get the dance line like that. So that's how I started out dancing.
I think it's easier to live here on the mainland. It's a little bit cheaper than what is Hawaiian, in Hawaii. You know, we pay, what, $6 for a gallon of milk, you know? You can buy a gallon of milk over here for $3. But, I mean, like, just all around it's cheaper. I think of it as a whole new experience. You know, I've lived in Hawaii my whole life. I wanted to get away, you know. Broaden my horizons, I guess you could say. But I really enjoy it up here, and you know, I know that if it doesn't work out for me, I can always go back home. Oh, my mom always had that fear. I was always the one who wanted to go away, but my mom knew that if I went away and I didn't come back home, that eventually I'd come home to visit, but she knew that I was strong enough to go away and do everything on my own and be independent.
So, and there's just so much cultural differences, like even the small things, like taking off, like, you know, you'd think it's proper manners, you know, growing up in Hawaii, you take your shoes off when you come inside somebody's house. They walk in your house, they got their shoes on, stepping all over your bed, it's like, oh, what's going on?
leaving Hawaii is the safer route now. You know, we lose teachers, police officers, and students. You know, because it is hard to make a living in Hawaii. A lot easier on the mainland. Is it a problem? Yeah. I mean, you look at the face of Hawaii today, and it's a lot different than it was 200 years ago.
I don't know if it's just me, but every time I go back, it just seems like it's hotter there. And it's going on global warming or whatnot. I don't know. The education system in Hawaii is pretty shot. I mean, everybody knows that. If you're not going to a private school, things are really, really, really tough for you beyond school, beyond high school. A lot of people from public schools don't really even think that college is an option for them because just the way that they grew up. I mean, their parents, a lot of them don't work. A lot of them are on welfare, and I mean that to them that's their way of life, and they can't see beyond that. Like we'll be in the gym or something, and people will be like, "Oh, how come you guys train so hard?" "Oh, we're trying to get ready for the luau, you know. We're already the whitest guy. I don't want anything else to stand out." So, and they're like, "Oh, you doing the hula?" And you know, the first reaction for them is just going like that. It's like, "Oh, no, it's not the hula."
There's the Hollywood hula, you know, girls in grass skirts, coconut bras, and you do any kind of hands that don't make any sense. And so it's also, you know, educate people on what is hula and how to correctly do hula too in the ways that it was done before. So it's education is my part in it.
Thing that was brought out no more, because for one period of time, I think the missionaries came to the issue of doing anything like that. And if you look through history, and I can't tell you which king, it was kind of like banned to do it. So things went underground. So it came out, again. Even the dress, the muumuu was to cover people up. Being out there and expressing yourself and being with the air and being with the spirit was, really put down because that wasn't okay. So I think it went through slowly as you look underground, come up and this kind of really wonderful, I think, kind of resurgence. And then you have people living on the mainland, where are halals? Here's where hula went to. The mainland, so many people left Hawaii, and yet they wanted the culture. They wanted some of the traditions. And so there are hula halals in San Francisco and California and different places. And then people from Japan even, they have so many halals in Japan, isn't it funny? They go study with the kumu, in Hawaii, and then they spread it in Japan too because they come to Hawaii and they're so taken, by the hula too. So
Hula was originally a religious ceremony to communicate to the gods, with the gods type of thing. And it being religious, it was done only by men. Then when missionaries came in and they brought with them Christianity, they saw that anything else that wasn't God, that didn't give honor to God, was sacrilegious. And so they said, if you want to follow God, you need to do away with hula. And so from that point, hula was done away with. And even Hawaiian language, anything native, anything not Western was abolished to them. Yeah, and then, secretly, thankfully it wasn't totally lost. There were still some smart people who wanted to keep it going, who realized that this was part of our culture and it needs to be preserved. And so thankfully, people kept it going underground, behind closed doors. And then through the years, it underground, and then finally, King Kalakaua, he was a happy man. He enjoyed festivals and parties, and he saw the hula was a dance, and he liked it. So he said, "Let's have hula," and he brought it back, and he said, "This hula is here to stay," and so very thankful for that.
And that was the Merry Monarch.
Yes, King Kalakaua, the Merry Monarch. He is the reason for the revival of hula, and glad it's here.
When you talk about terrorism or overthrowing some government and doing it, I go back to, you know, Queen Liliuokalani and how, and this is what I'm thinking when I'm watching this, that Queen Liliuokalani, because of predominantly sugar plantation owners, missionary families, the United Church of Christ was in this, sought to take over Hawaii, which they did, a sovereign nation of Hawaii, and who the United States had enjoyed maybe, let's say, 30-something years of recognizing them as a sovereign nation and affording them the right as a separate kingdom. That the United States Marines, in cahoots with these section of people, overthrew a government.
A lot of it was the big part of it was the overthrow, you know. I mean, that's what Hawaiians get all hoo-hoo, all mad about, is the fact that Hawaii was illegally overthrown. You know, some guy writes to the president, says, "Oh, we're gonna be attacked. Please send U.S. troops." But you know, there was nothing going on, and so troops landed in Honolulu, and the white man, if you will, tells the queen, surrender or bloodshed will happen, and it'll be your fault. So she had to surrender. I mean, she was only thinking about her people. So she, under the threat of arms, she turned over the government to those guys.
But yeah, I mean, in the long run, I want to end up back in Hawaii. I mean, all my family's there. Just my life is there. I mean, that's who I am. And up here is just, if I didn't have my friends from Hawaii up here, I'd be, I don't know, be homeless or something. And like, so many times I've been saved, like, you know, like most college kids, I get off track and stuff like that, but they're always the ones there.
Some people still don't even realize that we're a state.
Oh wait, I don't think you want to put this part on, because I mean the people up here.
When you grow up in Hawaii, it's like an island culture. I don't have to talk to you.
Talk to me.
No, I'm not, but I'll be looking sideways. Right?
That's fine.
Okay.
Freaking camera. Scary.
Sexual references.